Okay, if I can have everyone's attention, we'll go ahead and get started with our media availability here at Sonoma Raceway. We are now joined by Jamie McMurray, driver of the number 1 Cessna Chevrolet. Jamie, obviously a big win for you at the Sprint All-Star race earlier this season. Still need a points-paying win to secure a spot in the chase. Won the Coors Light Pole Award here back at Sonoma. Talk a little bit about your thoughts on the weekend.
Well, I always look forward to coming out here. It's first off a really pretty environment to be at, and it's also maybe one of the more comfortable tracks for me on the circuit. I came here and tested in 2003, and it's been a great place for me. I've qualified exceptionally well here, and I think finished second here once. But it seems like every year something has happened to us in the race. We had a flat tire last year with 40 laps to go or something. Lost a bunch of track position and could never regain it. But it's just a fun racetrack. I really enjoy road course racing. It's a little different than Watkins Glen because the speed is so much slower and it's so hard to get drive off the corners. But fun track, fun environment. Always look forward to it.
Okay, we'll open up for questions. We'll start right here with Tom.
Hi, Jamie. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Recent years, we've seen a lot more aggression here, especially in late race restarts. It's almost like short tracks used to be. Why is that, and do you expect more of it on Sunday?
Yeah, I think it's gotten, to me, when I look back at, I think this will be my 11th race here, maybe 12th race, and when we used to have a lot of the road course ringers come in, I wouldn't say it was aggressive as much as just poor decision making. When turn 4 and turn 7 on a restart here are horrible, and when you would have a guy that's in 12th or 15th and just make a complete dive bomb, knowing that at least when I would watch a replay, there's no way they're gonna make the corner, and they would wipe out somebody that was having a good day. Those are really frustrating. But now I feel like it's really aggressive, but it's guys making moves that seem realistic, and sometimes it doesn't always work out. But I feel like everyone has gotten smarter about road course racing and making sure they make it to the end. And we don't. Maybe it's because they're more regulars now. We just don't have as many of those guys coming in that don't race with us every week. So yeah, I mean, to me, the road course races are some of the best races we have all year long. I wish that we had more of these on the schedule. It just always turns out interesting with fuel mileage, and then the restarts are just crazy.
Okay, we got a question right here in the middle. Then we'll go to Woody.
Hi, Jamie. John Hausler, NASCAR Productions. In looking ahead a little bit, this is a preview question. You're heading to Daytona here in 2 weeks. You've had a lot of success at restrictor plate tracks in the past. What are you and your team doing to prepare for that race as you want to pull out a win?
Well, there's a lot of effort that's put into the Daytona 500 because we do the testing, and then we're in Daytona for 2 weeks preparing for that race. But I would say, honestly, from my side, I don't really think about speedway races until we get there that week. The cars there's really not a lot you can do to the car once you get to the track, so the team prepares the car. I think our speedway car is already done, sitting there, maybe waiting on an engine or getting an engine put in it. And to me, when I'm looking at Daytona, the race it kind of is what it is. You know what to expect. Qualifying was so much different at Talladega than what we had before. And we didn't even make it to the second round, which is just deflating, this new qualifying process if you don't advance. And at Daytona and Talladega now, it's kind of about getting in the right pack to run that qualifying lap. So to me, I'm thinking about qualifying and not really thinking about the race right now, just trying to get a good qualifying effort in and make sure we get with the right group there.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Woody and then go to Alan.
Woody Kane with MRN. Jamie, I was curious if you have any particular superstitions or things that you do routinely before a race, or habits or anything like that, or if you buy into the old green race car stuff or any of those things that you've heard over the years.
Well, I've been superstitious sometimes. I maybe still am a little bit, but I've also had really good days when the $50 bill appeared or the green Sharpie. And then I've had really bad days when I think I did everything correctly. So I'm maybe not as superstitious as I used to be, but I am really structured in everything that happens before the races. But I think that's just kind of my life in general. I tend to do the same thing every day, wake up around the same time, kind of the same routine, whether it's working out or going to the shop. I don't know. I'm not big into changing things. So I'm a little superstitious and just kind of want to do the same thing each week.
Okay, we'll go to Alan next, then Holly.
Alan Cavada, NASCAR.com. With the new rules and the win and get in the chase, have you envisioned what a late race restart will be like here? If there's a few of you guys up there who don't have a win yet and Can't have that opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you just have to. I mean, first off, you hope you're in that position that you can be one of those guys. But you never know here if you're going to have the late race restart. So I really haven't put much thought into that. And it's, when we get to the races, you don't get to decide if you have a good short run car or a good long run car. So that changes, I think, your mentality on the restarts, because sometimes you have a car that's great on restarts and you're like, well, I hope we have that because maybe I can advance my position. And then there would be other instances that your car's not good on restarts, and so you're dreading that to come out. So until you get out and you kind of get in the race, it's hard to worry about those things.
Okay, next question, Holly.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com.
Hello.
Hi, Jamie. Just your thoughts on qualifying here. What are you expecting it to be like?
Well, I think that is kind of the talk through the garage right now. There's some unknowns of, I guess we have 30 minutes of break, and then we're going to have 10 minutes maybe. Initially they talked about this would be 3 segments, and so now it's only 2. And this is one of the tracks that somebody could get in your way and really kill your lap. And for the first run, the sticker tires are going to be worth a lot versus going down on scuffs. I don't think you'll see anybody go out on scuffs and knock anyone out because the tires are so important here. But really, I mean, we've talked about it for a week now of do you want to go right out, or do you want to wait and let some of the guys run and then the track be cleaner? I don't know. I mean, I don't think anyone really has the answer right now. I think the ideal situation would be able to go right out on the track. That being said, it's a big racetrack. I think they blow it off. I don't know if they do, but you don't know if there's a corner that's going to be covered in dust from wind or from a car that has run off late in practice. So I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting tomorrow to see how that works out and what guys' strategies are. Also, where you draw dictates a lot of when you go out. If you draw number 1, we spent the last 30 years in NASCAR wanting the biggest number we could get when they draw, because you wanted to go out late because it would be cooler. Well, now everyone fights to have the first pill so that you have the option to go right out or to wait. So pit road gets blocked up whenever everybody backs out and then pulls down there. And if you draw in the 20s, you know that you're not going to make the first wave out on the racetrack. So some of that is dependent on what your draw is.
Okay, we'll take our next question up front and then go to Melinda.
Brock Beard, LASCAR. I wanted to follow up on the question about qualifying. How does the new format affect how aggressively you take each lap? I mean, I know it's all hypothetical right now, but I mean, you won the pole here last year, and you could have like 1 lap and just really lay it down. But then, of course, you have to worry about tire wear.
Yeah.
I mean, what's kind of the thinking on that?
Well, I think that you'll see most guys run 1 lap, and that's going to be your fast lap. When we looked back to last year, it was about a second a lap slower your second time on the track. So, I mean, it's all about getting that perfect lap, and that's what makes road course poles so special, is that it's hard to make a perfect lap here and have the best lap. And last year I think I barely beat Marcus for the pole, and I think about the places that I could have been better, or I'm sure he thinks about where he messed up at, right? But road course racing, the qualifying is tough, and it's a little different now because last year they started the European qualifying where you got to have multiple laps, but your best situation is to put the most tape on the car for just 1 lap and the air pressure so that they're only for 1 lap, and you just put it all on the line. And even though you have the option to run more, it's really, I think the pole guy will do it with the most tape on and in his first time by.
Okay, we'll go Melinda, Kenny, then go upstairs and then come back down.
Hey, Jamie. Melinda Adams, ESPN. Just wondering if you could speak to how much of an opportunity this race gives you this weekend for making the chase. Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jr., people that have been winning a lot this year normally aren't good here. How much of an opportunity and an open door do you see this for you?
Yeah, our cars have been so. Honestly, I thought we had a car capable of winning last week in Michigan. I did a terrible job on a restart, and we struggled a little bit to get fuel in the car. But honestly, I look at each week as a chance to win. I don't view Sonoma as like the opportunity for other guys. There's so much that can happen here with fuel mileage and the way the cautions fall and the way you pit. I mean, the whole race can change in a matter of 4 or 5 laps if a caution falls at the right or wrong time for guys. So, yeah, I don't look at this as a better opportunity. I really feel like each race between now and Richmond that we'll have a chance to win if we make all the right decisions. So, yeah, I mean, I think this weekend's as good as any, though.
Go ahead with your question, Kenny.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Jamie, I don't know if you spoke on this earlier or not, but You touched on it a little bit there. Why do you think they've had 9 different winners in the past 9 races here? I mean, we always hear about there are a couple of guys that are really good on road courses. Well, you've got 9 different winners. What do you think is the reason behind that?
Yeah, I don't know. I remember the year that Casey Kane won here. It was kind of a surprise to everybody. But I think that all of us have gotten so much better at road course racing over the years that if you put someone in the right position at the end, they're capable of winning. And you know, MWR's been really good here. I think they've won the last 2 races here. And I mean, I love Clint Boyer to death, but I would never have put him in winning a road course category, right? But when you look back, he's done really well at road course racing. So yeah, it's kind of circumstantial. You have to have a good car, and we're so limited. You know, we go and test it at all these road courses for Sonoma or for Watkins Glen, and it seems like the setups you develop don't work when you get here. So we're so limited on time. Like, we only have 3.5 hours of practice today. That's not a lot, and it's not a lot of tires, so you don't really get to try a lot of stuff. And I think when teams get here and they unload and they're close, that's a huge advantage. And if those guys can call the right race, then they have a chance to win. But it is interesting. It seems like there's a surprise winner here a lot.
And also, talking about qualifying, this year we've seen a few teams have issues, not getting out and getting their lap started before a session ended. We've seen guys have flat tires and unable to change them to advance to the next round. And then we saw your teammate with dead battery unable to advance. How much of a concern is that for you when you guys are sitting out there trying to decide if we want to go early, if we want to go late?
Qualifying has turned into an incredible 50 minutes, I think, for all of us. It's like another race, I feel like. I feel like every weekend you get in the car and you know you're probably going to be sitting in there for the next hour. And the emotions that happen over the first 30 minutes, especially if you're right on the bubble or if you're only in by 3 or 4 positions, you sit there for the next 15 or 20 minutes while your car cools down, and then you're waiting for the next guy that hasn't advanced in to go, and you want to see if the track's faster, or if, you know, at Michigan last week, people could go quicker on their second run. So it is, I mean, qualifying turned into what was exciting for 30 seconds at a place like Atlanta or Texas has turned into an hour of an emotional roller coaster, I think, for all of us, whether you're going to advance or not. And I look back at Fontana, and Biffle bumped me out with 1 second to go. And so I was 25th, and he ended up being like 24th. So I was just devastated, right? I left the track mad. I didn't even pay attention to the rest of qualifying. And when the race started on Sunday, he bumped me out with 1 second to go. And then to go for the next round, his tires were hot, and he wasn't any good, right? And when the race started on Sunday, he started 1 row in front of me to the inside. He was 24th. I'm like, why did I get mad over that? I'm like, because I would have been in the same position if I had been the guy that made it in. So it's interesting how we all want to win. You all want to be on the pole, and you have like really 3 chances now, and it's really interesting how the guy that's the fastest in the first round is not guaranteed to be on the pole. He might not even make it to the third round at some of the tracks. So it's a lot of fun. I like qualifying now. I think it's great.
Okay, we'll go upstairs for questions. Or any questions upstairs?
Dustin Long, MRN.com. Jamie, how involved are you in race strategy in the sense, would you rather only have a two-stop strategy but have old tires, or would you rather have 3 stops and the possibility of fresh tires? And also, can you talk about how physically challenging this track is?
As far as the strategy, I mean, that's really left up to the crew chief, and you have to see the track position you have. I think every driver would prefer to have the best tires, you know, on the track. It's a helpless feeling when guys line up, when you're the last guy not to pit and everyone behind you has tires. But I mean, it just depends on how your car is, how the cautions fall. So I mean, I leave that all up to the crew chief and just kind of let him know what the car is doing. What was the other question about? What was the question about? Oh yeah. I think Watkins Glen is way worse than Sonoma. I've looked at the weather. It's not going to be hot here, which is great. This is one of the places we come to that you're doing a little more work in the car than what we do at the ovals, and the cars are hotter. You're not going as quick, so there's not as much air moving around. So it is a place that can be really hot and tiring, but it's only going to be like 75 degrees on Sunday, so should be really good.
Any additional questions upstairs?
No more questions.
Okay, we got a question in the back, then Steve.
Curtis Pashelka, Bay Area News Group. Jamie, can you just talk about the growth that you've seen from your teammate Kyle, just from the start of the season until now, and going into a race like this? He's from Northern California, but he's never raced here. What kind of advice would you give him for this race anyway?
Well, he's done an awesome job. Kyle's done a great job all year long. He's a great kid. I really enjoy having him as a teammate. We were actually in the hauler just a few minutes ago, kind of going over the track, and I was telling him the little things that I think about when I come here and what I look for. You talk about shift points and just things to look for on the track. But yeah, he's done a great job, and this is going to be his biggest challenge all year long, to come here and not really practice. And a limited amount of time that we have on the track, but he'll figure it out. He does. Kyle, I think, best quality is that he's able to put it all together at the end of the race. Even if things don't go well at the end, he seems to be able to find a way to finish well at the end, and that's why he is where he is in the points. Is just because they've been able to really put all that together. So yeah, great teammate, great kid, and he's done an awesome job so far.
Final question, Steve?
Yeah, they gave him the key to the city in his hometown. You ever get the key to Joplin?
I don't believe I've ever. I didn't even know. I knew that Kyle was from California, but I have to be honest. If I had to point, is it Elk Grove? Is that where he's from? I couldn't point to a map where Elk Grove is or how big it is.
Got a quick question. These road courses can really bring out, the road rage.
The demon?
Yeah. I mean, out on the highway, what irks you? What's your pet peeve out on the highway when you're driving?
My pet peeve on the highway is people that don't want to drive the speed limit in the faster lane. Or, I don't know, when I drive down the interstate, even if I'm speeding slightly and I see someone coming faster than me behind, I get out of the way. I'm like, well, they're obviously in a bigger hurry, right? That, and I also hate people that try to become the police in their car when maybe you're passing them on the shoulder when you leave the track, the guy that pulls over to cut you off. I'm like, if the guy wants to go on the shoulder, let him go on the shoulder. I don't really have an issue with that. So that.
Jamie, thank you for your time this morning. Good luck this weekend.